Hi everyone. Right, well I'm going to do a painting today, a bit different. A subscriber asked me to do this for him. Basically he said, would you be able to do a painting where you actually make the mistakes that we make and then correct them? So that's what we're doing today. We're going to make some mistakes and then correct them. So basically, made a mistake before we even start because I'm on a canvas board, little canvas panel, and they tend to dry up really fast, so I'm going to have some trouble with this. I'm just going to start off by just putting some pink on the horizon, just in there. It's going to be hard for me, is this, doing them wrong. Right, that's one thing I'm going to do wrong. See that? Let them lines show in there. Just keep this brush to one side, get another brush. Same with this. I'm going to some blue, a little bit of crimson. Just there. And I'm just going to go up in there. There. It's them brush lines. I've made a right mistake. Whenever you do that, you know what I mean, it means you're going to have loads and loads of work now to actually blend it out properly. So I'll fix that now and then blend it out properly. Just going to use my big blender brush for this. So this could do with blending. A lot of people don't spend enough time blending, and some people over blend. So if you're either of those characters, you know, if you do either, it's easy enough to resurrect. It's not a problem. Now in here I want it to be lighter and then darker at the top, so I'll just blend that. Canvas isn't very sturdy, I'll just tighten that up. Can't be having that while I'm painting. Hopefully that will stay still for me now. Right, so I'm just going to blend that out. I'm using, because there's pink on there, I'm just going to let the top edge of the brush blend it. Another mistake would be to turn that round and then you dirty all this area. We don't want that. So it's mixing with the liquid white now, and it's actually getting lighter just in there. And then I'm going to work my way up slowly and gradually using crisscross strokes rather than the straight strokes that I used before. That was a mistake. And I'm just blending that out into the top there, all that way. And then you don't get none of this dirty colour in here then. So another thing I didn't do, I didn't make it dark enough on the top edge. So I'm just going to get some of this dark colour and I'm just going to stick some up in here. Come back with the blender brush again. I can just blend that out, soften it. It's just a bit darker on them top edges then. That's it. I still want to try and do a decent painting, but just show you while I'm doing this painting how to correct certain mistakes, basically. So we've got a nice gradient now in the sky. It's blended out nicely. Happy with that. Now I'm just going to do some quick clouds, and I'm going to teach you how to do a mountain and mess it up and then repair it basically. So just put a few shadowed clouds in here now. I'm using brushes from my last demonstration that I've just finished, which is called Painting the Northern Lights and Alaska. It's been really good fun to do, I proper enjoyed it. I haven't painted Alaska for a while, so I'm just going to use top edge of brush and just put some little clouds in just in there, using circles, just little circles. I have a mountain in here, so I'm not putting too much in. to there. So that's one cloud, and then put another one up in here. Just a little one. Something like that. And then maybe blend that out a bit more at the top. Yeah, that's it for that stage. Now I'm just going to get my palette knife. I'm going to pick up some dark colour. It's a mixture of the blue, lavender, blue crimson to make a nice lavender, and a bit of black with that as well. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually mix. That's the mix that I want, a good dark mix. But what a lot of people do is they'll use something that's not quite dark, and it'll look really far away, and they want it to be a foreground mountain, but yet it looks far away because it's not dark enough. So I'm just going to use some of that. And I'm just going to come up in here, I'm just going to lay some of that in. For starters, I've not really made it as dark as I should have done. So that's one mistake. I'm just going to put some of that in anyway. Typical Bob Ross mountain. Bring it out to there. So you're meant to blend it out. Some people just use a dirty brush, and you shouldn't really do that. You should always try and blend it out with a clean brush. Either side. There. Right, so I'm just going to put some snow on this mountain. Something that people always do wrong with this. They put the finger on back like so. And then when you're putting it in, look what happens. Look what happens. And then they try to get it back again. And it's like, what is it? There's nothing. And they'll come in and they'll do it again. Put the finger on it, try and bring it down, and they end up looking like so. They don't look like mountains at all. You know what I mean? It's just nothing to it. Same again, they'll either put white down in here as well without realising that it needs to have some blue in it. And also they didn't feather edge the bottoms of the mountain. So that's just a pretty poor mountain basically. So what I'm going to do, show you how to get rid of that if you make that mistake, and then I'll show you what you should do. So I'm just going to scrape that off, all the excess paint that's in there, scrape it as hard as you can to get it off. There, scrape it good and strong. And there should be still just enough liquid white on there for me to do with. So I'm going to get that other colour that I mixed, the darker tone. And I'm going to do it with that. So it wants to be a good bit darker. Up to there. Because this is a sunset, they're always darker. Always, because obviously you get the contrast from the light. It makes the mountains go nice and dark and have nice dark shadows. And just up into there, something round like so. keep running your knife as well and getting a new ridge every time. Always helps. Bring that up to there. Let it bobble off to that. Right, so we've done it with a bit of a darker colour. And I've not come down quite as far. So that will enable me then to come back in with a clean brush. And then I can just like pull it out. Let that come out like so. And the left hand side, pull at that angle. And at the right hand side, you pull down at this angle. And what that does automatically for you is it gives you the angles that you need to highlight your mountain. See, down in here, little angles. Because you're picking up the white when you go down into it here. And already you've got a shape going on. You've got something that you can work with, something pliable. Right, so I'm just going to use my knife again. I want to get some titanium white, and this time I'm going to put a tiny bit of the pink in with the white. So obviously it would be there with that colour sky. Just a little bit though, you don't need a lot. And you can marble it if you want when you're mixing it. Marble it so it's just different and sporadic all the way through it. And then with that, instead of touching with the back of your finger like I did before, you hold the knife like so. That way you cannot put on too much pressure. The best way for amateurs is to just be gentle and just let it break as they come down. Don't start too high up neither, and you can just let that go gently over that, and it breaks. Then you see you get that break, and you can see the dark underneath, and that's what you want. And people always think you've got to get it in one go. It's not the point, you just want it to look good. That's the main thing that matters. You want it to look good. So up in there. Something like that. Cool. And then you can pick out a few little spots in there as well if you like. Just put some up in here. You see them little dark holes in between? That's what I'm chasing. And if you lose them, it's easy to go back in and put them back in again. I can show you that now actually. When I went to college they said that it was cheating, but it's not, it's just a way of correcting a mistake. And sometimes you need to do it anyway just to get the certain look of a mountain. You need to do it that way. So I'm just going to put a bit on top of there. Let that come down. I'm going to over mix it intentionally now. There. See, now you're losing that dark that's in there. If you don't lose it too far, you can go back and put some dark back in again. But you've got to be very careful when you do this and do it minimally. I'm just going to mix that with a bit of blue first. And then just in here, I'm just going to come and gently let it graze down here. Just in there, some of that blue shadow snow. It's in shadow. There. Again, it doesn't matter if here and there you go a bit too light, it's irrelevant, it doesn't matter at all, but that's alright, I'm happy with that. What I like to do is I get a bit of a brighter one then, and then I can just come from in here and pull down. It creates a few different layers. A bit more of the lighter tone, and I'll just let that sit up in there. Very gently, just let it graze over the surface of that. What's going on? That's great. I'm just going to get a bit more of the white and the knife. And then just up in here, I'm just going to have a little peek of snow coming down in there. Right, see that little bit of pink that just slid through there? They're a bit too strong. I've got a little line of it going on. Don't matter, I want a bit of pink in there. It's not too much. Right, so to get your darks back, I'm going to go through some dark colour. And then just up in here, I'm going to pick out some of these little angular spots. And I'm just going to, there. See that? You just gently graze over the surface of it, like that. And it reinitiates some of your darks that you've got in there. Happy? Now you've got the detail back now, you see. Right, so again I just want to use them darks, this time just down in the shadow areas. There. Just like so. Right, as I was saying, just really gently, proper gentle, one hair and some hair, and you just gently go over that. And just up in here, you can play with this colour. You can just pop it in little areas where you want it, and take it away from certain. If you want to take it away, like say that bit there's a bit too dark, you can just go up like so. Takes it away for you at first. Just using the small part of the knife, and then you get some of the white, and just up in there, and reintroduce some of that white back in. That's it. No problem. You can just go backwards and forwards all the way. I'm happy. Now I'm just going to get a bit of the dark, and I'm just going to pull through here. A few little details of stuff that's going on just up in there. You can even just sometimes get a little bit more of the lighter tone and just have it spilling out over the edge, and a little bit of light still on it just in there. So then you can, yeah, like so. See that? Just that little bit, and it creates another peak in there. I'm happy. Right, now, get a big brush, or a small brush, whichever you choose, and get rid of those lines by just tapping really gently into it, up into the mountain. There. Just tap at them angles. I'm not using a clean brush. You should really be using a clean brush to do this. I'm just using old brushes which I've been using in side, you see, for my other painting. And then with that, I'm going to get my blender brush. I hope the blender brush works now because it's got quite a bit of paint on it. I'm trying my best, and then just gently blend up. That's another thing people don't do, they don't clean the brushes enough. So I'm just going to gently go over and blend that. See them lines that you get when you're blending? I'm not too worried though because I'm going to put something else in. I'm just going to Gently blend that down. I always use a clean brush for this generally though. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make some bushes and some trees and do some river. So I'm going to get my brush with the red on it. Get a little bit of that red on there. I'm going to put some in the water, just in here. I made a mistake straight away, intentionally. If I'm going to have water in there, it's a good idea to actually, I'll just get something that I can use to clean it, get rid of it. Baby wipes are good. Baby wipes are really good at getting off oil paint. So what you do, I needed to leave a light area just in the middle, so I just use this baby wipe, and the baby wipe will actually dissolve the oil paint, and you can get rid of it like so. There. That's it. And then obviously you start from the way you're supposed to do it, you start from the outside to the inside like so, and you leave a feathered edge just in there. Same from this side, feathered edge all the way, and then just go across at the base a bit like that. There. Then we get some blue, same blue we've been using, and you just put a bit of that in as well. Now the lines that we didn't want on here, we actually want for the water because it creates lovely effects. Just pull from the outside to the inside on that one. Now what I'm going to try show you next is how to correct bushes when you do bushes and trees with too much paint and you can't highlight over top of it basically because it's too thick. I'll show you a few different ways that you can sort that out. Right, so from what we've got, I've got all dirty brushes now, which is something you should never do. But this is okay because I can actually pull a bit of that colour over there, you see. So I'm just using the bottom of this brush, pulling a bit of that colour over. It looks like little ripples and stuff going on. There. Happy. Put a bit of the base just in there. Blend a bit into that. Softly. Right, let's get some bushes in quick. Good dark colour. Made a mistake already because I've used a colour with light, a brush with light colour on it to apply the dark, and you shouldn't really do that. You can cut corners though sometimes when you get used to it. I'm just going to put some bushes in. Just underneath the mountain to block it off. There. There's nothing about like that. Just tap nice and hard. Just in there. There's a bigger one. A few littler ones, smaller ones. Something I like to do is I'll let it mix with the liquid white here and get lighter. See that? Just in there. And then what you do is you go back to your dark, and then you've got this bush here which I put back in dark. Now this bush is in front of that and that one's behind. That's how you get your depth basically for stuff like bushes and trees, to sit them back in the background. Allow them to mix with that liquid white. Do a big couple of trees there. There, see how it gets lighter, and then this one's in front. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use some of that good dark colour again, darken this off, and get some of that dark around the bottom. I can't keep forgetting. Now if you get a bit too much oil on, I'll just show you now. So this is a mistake. I just overloaded my brush with too much oil paint. See that? It's too much. When you put your white on, it's going to want to mix with that now. So let's try it. Right, so we get us white. See that? Put it on there. It's not really picking it up properly, and it's not standing out too well. And it starts to mud mix. People tap too much or too hard when they're doing this, and you just end up with one flat colour. See, like there's no definition or anything. So that's another big mistake that people make, tapping too hard when they highlight. Now I'll show you a way of correcting that. So what I do is I scrape out all that excess paint. You have to make the tree slightly bigger, which doesn't matter because I wanted a big one in here anyway. Just scrape out all that excess paint that you've got in there. Too much of it, too much. Back to my dark brush. Let me get some good dark colour now. And a firm colour. I'm not using colours which are thinned or anything like that at the moment. This is the base colour, and the base colour wants to be quite dryish. You don't want to have any thinner with it at all. Tap at the base so you get good dark shadows at the base. There. And then just gently allow that to come up. Cool. I think I might even make a big tree. I'm going to do a Bob Ross. Big tree up in here. Leave a few gaps. Put a couple of branches in there then. Stuff like that. There we go. Again, I'm regular. You got to regularly reload your brush. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And at the base of these, just tap in there. Just at the base. I want some darker shadows. Careful as you come to the right because you want it to look further away. Still just tap a bit softer. There. Now I'm going to get some of that dark again, and then just in here I'm going to put a bush that's in front of these, just there, little bush, and again that sits these ones further back. Now you should never pull down with a dirty brush really to do the shadows, but I'm going to do that anyway. Seeing as I'm supposed to be making mistakes. Now when I pull it down, it's going to come down too far. So I just pull some shapes of these bushes straight down. See, it's drying up there. You know where I pulled it off? That's not a problem there. Put a bit of dark in by just tapping, and then pull that down, right down to the bottom. This is stopping me from getting as low as I want to get, but I'm not too fussed about it. See how soft and feathery they are though compared to these drying.